because Dynamite to me really was a blast to watch. And they're trying to pull out all the stops to try and scramble back up these ratings boards here as they try to seal this new television deal or whatever is going on in the background. But let's first off talk about Hangman Adam Page loses to Daniel Bryan. We'll talk about Daniel Bryan in a second. But this sends Hangman Adam Page right back to where the good boys are, the ones that said they would help him, the ones that said he didn't need them anymore. He went right back into the Elite's hands. And we are building towards Blood and Guts in 2 weeks, where it's the Elite, Okada, Jack Perry, the Jackson, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page versus Team AEW, which is right now just, I guess, I don't know, Swerve Strickland and Mark Briscoe.
No, it's just Mark Briscoe and Darby Allin, right? Is Swerve on there?
Added himself in there.
Oh, okay.
Swerve added himself in there.
That makes it good.
Here's the thing. Blood and Guts right now doesn't matter to me until we see the AEW side. I do want to talk about Hangman Adam Page because he has been an extremely interesting character since he has returned. I loved this match versus Bryan Danielson. I loved how just vicious this man has been since coming back. And I really thought they were going to make him into a monster and put him over Bryan. I even texted you, Bryan Danielson's going to lose another big match tonight. But they're not pushing Hangman to the top right away. Instead, putting him back into this Elite storyline. And now I'm much more intrigued by what the Elite can do because there is realness to Hangman Adam Page. There is realness to this character that's not really in the Elite. They're very much, you hate them for how cuckoo crazy they are. But Hangman Adam Page is a motherfucker. And adding him to Blood and Guts is a scary situation. So how do you feel about the way they've treated Hangman for these 2 hours on Dynamite?
Well, Hangman's return has been very well done to me. He's looks like he's like on just a second away from completely losing his mind at all times. Yeah. So I'm very into that. It looks like they haven't really explained where he was for the past few months, so maybe they can go into that, like where the hell, like, and why he's losing his mind and what that hiatus was about. But yeah, I'm into Hangman Page, and I like the story with them versus the Elite. I have no idea who the other two people on Team AEW are going to be. Hopefully, it's not
we need three people.
I don't want the Acclaimed. I don't want the Acclaimed involved in that match. But yeah, Hangman Page. I like this match, and I just feel like Bryan Danielson deserved this win, and I don't think they're going to give him the title victory at All In. But I would love to see it.
We'll talk about D. Bryan in a second.
Right.
But yeah, but Hangman, I mean, the reason why Hangman went back to the Elite, not because he couldn't beat Bryan Danielson on his own, but because Swerve added himself to Blood and Guts, and now Hangman's going to be in the same ring as Swerve. Yeah. And it's not going to be for a title. It's not going to be at a pay-per-view. This is live on television, folks, on TBS in 2 weeks' time. Like, I'm buying in, man. I'm very excited to see this roll in. And my hope is, my hope is this turns Hangman into an even bigger star than the Elite can have. Because he had a face-to-face with Okada. He was like giving a mean mugging contest to Okada. Like, he's not going to fit in long with the Elite. And I really think there's a chance that he could break out of this an even bigger star than he is right now.
I agree.
I'm pumped about that.
I hope he attacks the Elite during the match at some point. I hope he flips out because they lost and just beats the hell out of all four of them. I hope that's how the night goes off the air. I don't love Hangman Page, but I like his character. I like he's a good performer. He's a good athlete. I think they should get behind him. I think they should try to make him one of the biggest stars in the company. He has that potential, whether he's a heel or babyface. So just keep going. Yeah. I'm invested in Hangman Page. I hate the Elite. Well, I like Okada. I don't like the Young Bucks in the Dumb and Dumber suits, but I like the rest of the group. And yeah, that's what I would do. Just have the Elite lose to whoever Team AEW is and have Hangman completely lose his shit next week. Like, just full bore, tables, blood, kind of like what we saw at the end of tonight's Dynamite.
Yeah, let's move on to the main event of this week's show. Yeah. And it has to do with essentially the Owen Hart finals, both the men's and the women's. As we said, Bryan Danielson beat Hangman Adam Page. He will be facing Swerve in London. And Bryan Danielson, man, he's still going for it, dude. He went to the Dustin Rhodes School of Blading tonight, and it was a lot. And then, speaking of blading, Mariah May beat Willow Nightingale. And what I thought was a little bit overbooked with Chris Statlander and everything running in, but at the end of the day, a good match and a great turn
Yeah.
Toni Storm. I was kind of expecting a turn after I saw how happy everyone was in the ring and how they stayed with it for a little bit of long time. And Toni Storm's grabbed Mariah May's hand and they're skipping down the aisle to grab the belt and look at the trophy. And I thought the whole time Toni Storm was going to be the one that turned in a jealous rage. No, Mariah May turned, man, and it was gruesome and
Yeah.
expertly done. She beat the crap out of Tony. She beat the crap out of Luther, threw him through a table in one of the funniest table spots I've seen. A+ job by you, Luther. And then the gushing blood off of Toni Storm's face, attacking referees. The way we went out, Mariah May looking strong, half of her face bloody like she's a character out of Batman. Like she was awesome. And I have to say, overall, with Daniel Bryan and Swerve and Hangman, and everything going on in that world, him going over Ospreay, being this big guy that you have to go get, and then on the other side, this Mariah May and Toni Storm build to All In London, which is a couple weeks away now. All In, All Out, whatever the fuck it's called, a couple weeks away here. We talked on this show, Bob, praying for Tony Khan to fucking book some shit, to build some shit. And
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to make this the main event, because this mattered. This matters for this pay-per-view. It's not Forbidden Door anymore. It's not we're throwing together things at the last second to throw on a six-man on the pay-per-view. These two matches that they built tonight and have been building for a while. This Toni Storm, Mariah May storyline has been going on for months. I am so excited as a fan of AEW to watch this stuff moving forward. You, as sort of the neutral fan in this world, the WWE side of things, how did this affect you? And are you now looking forward to London even more?
Yeah, this was one of the best closing 2 minutes of a show, any show of the year, past few years. I'll go that far. I really enjoyed this. And I haven't loved everything about Mariah May and the kissing and the weird stuff, but this grabbed my attention. I really like this heel turn by Mariah May. Got me super invested in her character, and I'm actually glad that they didn't turn Toni Storm heel. She's kind of like a tweener anyway. She can be both. It doesn't matter. Mariah May needed a direction other than being in Toni Storm's shadow. She stepped out of it emphatically tonight, and she could dethrone Toni Storm at All In or at Wembley, and I'd be fine with that. This was a star-making segment for her. This was
Absolutely.
a huge deal. This is, if her career goes well, she'll remember this moment as like the stepping stone, her breaking out point, because it was that well done. People were clamoring about it online. Everybody was talking about it. So it's a huge segment. That's what we were talking about, where they need stuff that people are talking about other than crapping on the show. The MJF heel turn last week. This segment this week. You need to do it every week. You got to come up with something else next week on Dynamite to get people invested in. So
well,
yeah,
they did that too, Bob. Like, that's the thing. I was so happy tonight because they did that too. Not only do they have blood and guts in 2 weeks for us to look forward to, whether you like the Elite storyline or not, but next week, episode 250, I guess, it's the 250th episode of Dynamite. We're having MJF versus Will Ospreay for the belt. We're not saving that for a pay-per-view.
The international title.
Whatever the fuck it's called. We're burning that right now. It's happening right now to start next week's Dynamite. They are begging for ratings, and they're pulling out all the stops to get it, man. I'm so
tuning in.
This is all I wanted. It's not hard. Just make these guys matter and make it important. Almost every segment of tonight's Dynamite mattered and was important. And then they had a random four-way fight between four guys from a different country that I did not watch nor pay attention to at all. But take that away, we had about an hour 30 of a really good show. And I'm pumped for the future for that. If we can keep doing that, then it's going to be a successful company. It's going to keep moving forward. I'm pumped for it. What do you think about MJF and Ospreay burning that match right now? Obviously, I don't think we're going to have a clean finish anywhere.
Yeah, I think we're getting something screwy and we're building to something bigger. Maybe Daniel Garcia gets involved. There's a lot of ways you can go with it, but I'm going to tune in to see what happens. That's what's been missing from Dynamite for a long time. They give me a ton. You need multiple reasons for everybody to tune in, and I'm going to tune in to see what Mariah May does next. I'm going to tune in to see what the hell happens in this international championship match. I'm not going to tune in to see if Jericho has a forklift next week, but other than that, I'm going to be tuning into a lot of different things.
I forgot about that.
I'll never forget about it. But other than that, there's a lot of great stuff going on. Other than the Learning Tree and Samoa Joe, that's going to be like a stadium stampede at All In. I think they're building for that with Hook and Samoa Joe and the Learning Tree against. I don't give a shit about that feud, but everything else I'm invested in.
I will say, turning Jericho into like now he's like maniacal and bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
They saw like the Wyatt Six in WWE and we're like, all right, we can make the learning tree that way, right? Yeah, okay. Good luck, man. But other than that, AEW, props to you because we've been waiting for it and we're happier for it.